Hello, Chicago, Chicago, and very, very welcome to all of you to this special online event. It's a pleasure to join you, even though it's over the internet and it's an online show this year. It's a privilege, and thank you so much to John Amico for inviting me to do this year. Well, a bit about me. My name is James Coughlan, and I'm sure a lot of you know me, and there's some who don't know me. But for the ones who don't know me, I'd like to tell you a bit about myself and how I started out in this business. And for those of you that know me, I miss you all very, very much this year. And I hoped and wished that we could go ahead and be together this year, but obviously with the circumstances going on in the world at the moment, it wasn't possible. But at least this is possible today, that we can meet online. And if you're inside in your salon with friends, or if you're at home on your couch and sipping a glass of wine while you're watching this, it's a pleasure to be with you, and thank you for having me in your salon and in your home. As I said, my name is James Coughlan and I'm a barber. And this is my barber shop, which is Jimmy's Barber Shop here in Ireland. And it was about 5 years ago when the door opened to my shop and in walked John Amico. Johnny walked into my shop with his family. He was touring Ireland at the time. And we had such a wonderful experience. You know, I could almost say we became friends straight away, and we're probably friends that hadn't met yet. But we met that day and we've been friends ever since. My shop is located here in County Clare on the west coast of Ireland. I live beside the Atlantic Ocean. We're on the Wild Atlantic Way, one of the longest stretches of coastline in Europe. It's 2,500 kilometers long, and I feel privileged to live where I live at the moment. At the moment now in Ireland, unfortunately our country's in lockdown at the moment, so we're closed for 6 weeks, and that's happened from last week. So this is lockdown number 2. Obviously our cases have risen with the coronavirus, which I'm not going to talk very much about because everybody's tired about talking about that. But our shop is closed at the moment. But the one thing that we can do through this time is just keep it real, keep positive, and keep moving forward. You know, I feel very, very, very lucky to be in this business. This business has introduced me to so many things, so many people, so many places, and especially to all of you that I have met through this, you know, and we keep contact, and it's always great to hear from you, whether it's a call or a text message or video chats or whatever. It's always great to hear from you, and every time I meet you, it's like meeting a family. But I wasn't born into this business. I had no intentions of being a barber. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story, how I actually became a barber. You know, it was back in, I left school at a very young age. I never liked school. And our schools were very tough at the time. And Ireland, going back in the 80s, was, it wasn't the wealthiest of countries. So the best thing to do was try to get work and get out of school as quick as you could, and everything else. For the ones who stayed in school, well done and all this, but it wasn't for me. So I left school at a young age, and I started working at a young age. I know I worked in several jobs over the years. I worked in shops, I'd flipped burgers, I'd worked on building sites. I'd done whatever I could to earn some money at the time. At the age of 17, I went to London. And I worked in construction for many years. About a year or two being in London, I met a wonderful woman that became my wife. And I had a wonderful son about a year or two after that. And I continued to live in London, and I lived in the United States for a period of time. And I worked in construction, always. And back in 2008, a lot of you may remember that the economy crashed. I had moved back to Ireland at that time, and the economy crashed. And construction finished. Overnight, construction finished. House building stopped, commercial building stopped, people went out of business. I was owed a lot of money. My boy had started school, he'd started college at the time. And all of a sudden, my wife died. So my wife of 20 years, I was trying to deal with the economy crashing, and all of a sudden I had to deal with grief, and it became a very, very tough time for me. But all I knew at that time was construction. I didn't have an education for other things. But I always, the one thing I always done was got up and went out every day. I went out every day, and I never stopped my head from thinking of what new things that I can do, And I've always learned, never to sit around and do nothing. You do nothing, nothing happens. So while I was grieving, and I don't do people feeling sorry for me very much, but while I was grieving, I decided I'd go to the airport and I'd take a trip and I'd go away for 3 or 4 weeks. My boy had started college, he'd gone back to college, and I had 3 or 4 weeks where I could spare and go off and just gather my thoughts. And I went off to a beautiful place called Laguna Beach in California. And I have to say at that time, it was just probably one of the most awakening things of my life at that time. Every morning I walked the beach, every evening I walked the beach. I watched the sunrise over Catalina Island. I watched the sunset. It was just absolutely beautiful there. And for a moment, I didn't have people feeling sorry for me. I was able to collect my thoughts and try to come together with what actually happened in my life. Every day, every morning, I met this guy. He used to walk at the other side of the beach, and the guy had one arm. He lost his arm here. And I noticed this every day. And he used to walk along the beach, and I thought, he used to walk by himself around 6:30 in the morning. I used to walk by myself, and we'd walk at opposite ends of the beach. And one morning I decided that I'll walk on the same side of the beach as him, so we could bump into each other. So I remember we're walking towards each other, and just as I was about to pass him, I says, "Hey buddy, what happened to your arm?" And he says to me, "That's the first time somebody has asked me that question on a first meet." And I says, "Oh, I'm sorry." I said, "I don't mean to intrude." And he says, "No," he says, "that's okay." He says, "It's nice of you to ask." But he told me he used to be a professional motorcycle racer. And he had an accident about 6 months previous, and he had lost the love of his life, which was how to ride a bike. And for that moment, we had something in common. I had lost the love of my life, he'd lost the love of his life, and we just struck up a friendship. And the next afternoon we met and we're having lunch, and I said, I could really do with a haircut. And I said, "Do you know of any barber shops around?" So I walked up through Laguna town, and I only came across one hair salon. But at the time it was like $60 or $70 for a haircut. And I said, I'm damned if I'm paying $60 or $70 for a haircut. And which I eventually did. Because it was the only place that I found and everything else. So I went in, I had the haircut, it was a great conversation. But on leaving that place, I walked away feeling good. We had a beautiful conversation. I never told that person what was going on in my life, but I told him I was from Ireland, and we had a nice chat. They asked if I was having a nice time. We had a beautiful conversation. But when I met this gentleman afterwards, I said, "You know what?" I says, "We can't be feeling sorry for ourselves. The two of us have got to get new careers." And I says, "Wouldn't it be brilliant to have a barber shop right here on the beach? Wouldn't it be fantastic to have a barber shop on the beach?" And that just came into my head for a moment, and I thought nothing more about it. About 2 weeks later, I arrived home. And of course, with the time difference, I think we're about 8 or 9 hours of a time difference. And I was kind of awake during the night, and I couldn't sleep properly during the day and all this. And I was still going through this grieving process, which I still do today, but I can deal with it better. But I was going through this grieving process at the time, and I wasn't sleeping very well. Call it insomnia or whatever you might do. But I turned on the TV about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was watching the morning program from the previous morning. It was this program that was on TV, and I was watching it from the previous morning. And what was on the show was this guy, just this lady, she's a TV celebrity, and her brother has got this Barber College in Dublin. And he was saying that since the recession started, more and more people have started training to become barbers. I thought, wow, this is very interesting, you know, trying to become a barber, because I actually never knew of a barber college, or I never even knew where barbers went to learn their trade, you know. I thought it was kind of a trade secret they didn't want to tell you. So I was listening to this program, how they're saying people in construction have been coming to learn how to become a barber and stuff like that, and they found that they had great results in teaching people that came from trades, because they were starting fresh. They had people starting fresh, and and they were doing very popular in doing it. So I watched that for a while. Didn't really think a lot more about it. I think I went back to sleep for a few hours. And the next day I was off work. I wasn't working at the time, obviously. And I went into a local bar that's actually across the street from my shop. It's across the street from my shop. And I went into a local bar. And when I went into a bar, I walked into the bar, and to the left-hand side, there was a couch you can sit at a table. But up in front of that couch, there was 2 bar stools sitting up at the, you know, on the bar. But sitting at the bar were 2 guys who like to drink every day, you know? 2 guys who like to drink every day. Never seen them do much more, but there were 2 guys who like to drink every day. And they're sitting at the bar. And all I could do, well, I've ordered my food, and all I could do was listen to them complain about the price of a sandwich that one of them paid for in a previous bar, or that somebody else paid for. It wasn't their sandwich, but while they're having a beer, they seen somebody else buying a sandwich, and they complained about the price of it. So I was kind of being entertained inside listening to this story. And they were talking amongst other stuff, you know, and stuff like that. And I always think, like, listening to 2 drunks talking in a bar can be very interesting, because they're very educated in life, can be very interesting. You know, they can come up with great ideas, maybe not put them to plan, but they can come up with great ideas. But I was there and I was listening, and I couldn't help but listen to their conversation. And one of the guys had a big beard, long hair, and the other guy had big hair. And one of the drunks said to the other, "Isn't it terrible in town that you can't get a haircut now?" Because 2 of the barbers got very old that were in the town, and they got very old, and they kind of opened when it suited them. So you couldn't really go make an appointment with them. If you went to them and they were open, you got a haircut. If you didn't, you had to wait, and you didn't really know. They were kind of coming to the end of their careers. And suddenly, that to me was strike 3. We had the thing about that happened in California with the Barber Shop. Then we had that TV program that I'd watched during the night, and strike 3 was they were saying how there's much of a need of a barber in town. Well, I couldn't wait to eat my lunch quick enough, and I went to back home. And I started finding the number to this college where I could learn to become a barber, because I said, this is for me. This is a sign for me to become a barber. And I got in touch with them, and I started there within a week of those 3 things happening. I had found something that I wanted to do. I just knew that this was for me. I just thought it was one of the best ideas that I ever heard, and this was for me. So I went and I started this course. But what I wanted to do in line with this course was I wanted to try and get education in a salon as well. So I started this course in Dublin, and this guy was used to dealing with celebrities and stuff. And so a lot of celebrity people would come to this guy for a haircut. He was well renowned, so he was a very, very good teacher in what he'd done, you know, and everything was one-on-one education, and you worked with amazing people. So I was getting the best education possible. I went down to another barber shop about 3 weeks later, maybe about 2 weeks later, and I knew it was a very, very well-renowned barber shop. And I went in there and I said, "Hey man, look," I says, "I'd love a job in here." I says, "You don't have to pay me. I'd love a job in here, but I says, all I want to do is just be able to watch what you do." I says, "I'll sweep the floor." I says, "And cut hair." I says, "I've been barber of the month of this college up the street." And so I wasn't barber of the month of nothing, but I just thought I'd exaggerate the situation a little bit so he'd give me a job. But this gentleman knew that, you know, I was just eager to work and all this kind of thing. He says, "Yeah," I says, I'll give you a job. He says, can you get up early? And I says, look, I know you open at 7 o'clock in the morning, so I'll be in here at 7. So I started going to him at 7 till 9:30 in the morning. And I used to start my college at 10 a.m. in the morning until 4 every day. And I got a job with another barber that I used to go in the evenings from 5 o'clock till 10 o'clock at night. So I ended up literally studying and working 15 hours a day for quite a long period of time. But the one thing that happened to me was I fell in love with this business. I fell in love with this business. I loved being part of the barber trade. That during the time that I was learning, this particular shop that you're in now, this became available. And don't forget that the economy was very bad in Ireland at the time, so rent prices were quite good. So I thought I'd snap up this location, which was the best location in this town. My town here has got about 3,000 people, but we cover a wider area that's probably about 20,000 people. And when I had enough education, and as soon as I was licensed to become a barber, the next day my shop was ready to open. I came straight into my shop. Now, I don't have staff, I work alone. This is one person. This is like an old-time barber shop that you come in, we listen to music inside here, you have conversations, people like coming in and sitting down and chilling out and having a nice time here. And the one thing that I learned was how to do things well and how to do things quickly and how to develop good haircuts quickly. I developed the art of hot towel shaving, giving classic hot towel shaves that people love very much. So I started getting quite popular for weddings and different parties and different gatherings, and I get different groups that come in, just want to come in, have a nice time, get shaved, get haircuts, get whatever they want done in a barber shop. But the one thing that we are as barbers is, I've learned in this business, you don't have to be the greatest person in the world in this business. You just have to give it the best that you can do and be the best person that you can be in trying to get your gift across here and stuff like that. You might hear from people like Gino, how he always kind of talks about be the best person that you can be. And I learned a lot of this from Gino. That's a lot of what you can. Just be the best person that you can be in your job. I love this job so much. I love working in this job so much. It's an absolute privilege. It's an absolute privilege. Within a week of opening this shop, the other two barbers died. Now, I felt very sad for them, but they had long, fruitful lives. One of the barbers actually started off and he opened up a barber shop here in 1947. And he went all the way to 2008. So he had a long, fruitful career. And the great thing about this career that I've been in many barbershops over the years, and everybody seems to get really old. So it's actually quite a healthy career. It's quite a healthy career. Now, another amazing thing about this business with great education another great thing about this business is the money that you can earn, because I've been uneducated in my life and I've worked in jobs that I couldn't really go for the educated jobs because I could never pass those interviews or whatever, that I always kind of ended up self-employed. And when you're pretty good at what you do, you can make a very, very, very good living out of this job. And I would suggest that anyone that has children who doesn't want to go to college or anything like that, get into beauty school or get into hairdressing or get into barbering. It's an absolutely fantastic business. It's an amazing business. And really, really worth pursuing. It's very rewarding. We work very hard in our business. We talk all day in our business, and it can be very draining in many ways, but everything about it is very, very rewarding. Now, of course, when I say this has brought me on a great journey, it's brought me to you, it brought me to Chicago. I've been to beautiful places in America and throughout Europe because of this business. I've had great opportunities because of meeting the likes of John Amico and getting involved with John Amico. When Johnny walked into my shop here, he changed my life because he opened up another part of the world to me that I didn't think that was possible, I remember Johnny saying to me in his first meet, he says, "Hey James, you got to come out and do a show in Chicago." I says, "What would I do on a stage? What do I know? And he says, I said, the most amazing thing, just be you. just be you. He says, they're fine, they'll love you and all this. And I remember being so nervous the first time I went there, but he was right, because all of you people are absolutely amazing, and you've never given me anything and nothing more than the love you give me. Is just absolutely heartwarming and beautiful, and I live every year for it. So not to be beside you and giving you a hug this year really kills me inside, but I know that you're in my heart, I'm in yours, and that we'll meet again very soon. You know, the one thing that I've seen about John Amico shows, and I've been to quite a few shows in London and France and America and these different places, and the one thing I've noticed about John Amico is the hands-on from John Amico himself and Johnny and the whole team and Julia and Christine and all these people. They're all hands-on in this education, that they want to give a piece of what they've learned over the years to you. They want to give this. I think the amazing feeling that's around their schools, I get to see how lucky the students are in the John Amico School of Education. I just think there's absolutely fantastic. The attention that they get and the education is second to none, And the thing I've learned about this is you can never ever stop learning. Don't ever stop learning. You can learn something new every single day. A person that's a third of your age can learn something new. I didn't start in this till I was 38 years of age. And I feel so lucky that I got the break to start out in this. And that's only 12 years ago. And I feel so lucky that I got the break to start out in this, because I could have missed out. But the reason I'm here is because of all you beautiful people in America, all those ideas that I learned and the inspiration I got to be a barber or a hairstylist came from the United States of America. When we're in the United States, we spend some time with the students in the John Amico School of Education, and I have seen nothing like it. And I would implore that no matter how experienced you are, never ever stop learning. And for those of you who are just starting out, don't give up. As hard as it gets, as much as you want to walk away, even as expensive as it gets, and it is expensive to learn, but it is very inexpensive for the career that you're going to have out of it. Never give up, and never stop learning, because you'll have one of the most beautiful careers in your life. This is something that I can just take my hands anywhere in this world and work immediately. No matter what happens, all these silly lockdowns or whatever we're going through at the moment, people will always need our services. No matter how long they stop us for through this time, they're going to need us more and more when we get back. We're never ever going to go out of fashion. Never going to go out of fashion. The greatest trend with hairstyles is everything does a circle. We're learning new stuff all the time, but while we're learning new stuff all the time, we've always got the knowledge of the older stuff that with that circle we're going to go back doing again and again and again. So as long as we never give up on what we do, this will never give up on us. I started stocking John Amico products here, over there, and I've never come across products that's just as amazing as them. They really put a lot of work into sourcing their products and getting their products and selling their products and making them available to you. And I've used a lot of these products in my shop over there. I love a lot of the men's range of products. They have a daily shampoo. There's the fantastic, the GA styling gels. There's also the control gel for men. There's the men's hairspray. We have play gums for a lot of the younger kids. Love this. This is absolutely brilliant product. One of my favorite products that I use, because I've got thick, heavy hair and I use this all the time, is the Super Hold. It's like a cement fix gel, which is absolutely fantastic. Now they also do it matte paste and waxes and all this from the Clipper Guy. Ivan Zoot, you're familiar with Ivan, the Clipper Guy, all available through John Amico. There's shave creams, There's shave creams, there's balms, there's styling creams, and plus there's a fantastic range that you'll see over the weekend of shampoos and conditioners and Bimino oil, and all these products that are behind me are available inside my shop, you know, and that's here for, let's call it John Amico Ireland, you know. So they're just amazing products to have, and all those products as well are available online. If you go to johnamico.com, you can contact any of your reps or any of the people that you deal with, and they'll put you straight through to where you can purchase these products, and I highly recommend them. Being part of John Amico and accepting that I was brought into the John Amico family is heartwarming in every way. And when they bring you in to be part of this John Amico family, it's like no other. They truly are a family, and they truly do care about you. For you just to take your time today to listen to my story, or listen to Maria's, or if you've listened to Ivan, if you've listened to any of the other guests that are going to be here over the weekend, that's a credit to you, because it's people like you that keeps everything rolling like this. It's people like you that makes these shows possible. It's people like you that gives me the opportunity to do better things in life, to better myself. Because the one thing about us is, as human beings, is we always want to better ourselves. And the only reason that people like me exist is because of people like you. Because you're never inexperienced not to know better. You're never over-experienced not to be able to pass that lesson to somebody else, you know? And that is the great thing about through John Amico and a lot of these shows, is that we share our ideas. It doesn't stop at the show. You come to this show, whether you go to a live show or you come to this webinar, it doesn't stop when this video stops. It doesn't stop. It stops because we're always here to educate you at any given time. Anything you want to know, you can contact us through Instagram, you can contact us through Twitter, you can contact us through Facebook and Messenger and WhatsApp and all this kind of thing. And I'm only happy always to educate and learn, and I'm happy to learn from you as well, because all of this is only possible because of you. I'm going to be here over the weekend. We're going to be doing some hair cutting and stuff like that. So please come and tune in, and there's something to be learned. And we're also going to be doing, after this, well, you know, there's going to be question and answer. So if you have any questions about anything, please feel free to ask. I'm quite happy to answer anything. There's no question too silly to ask. We all need to learn, you know. And some of the hardest things that I found difficult to do when I was starting out was the easiest things that I do today, because I was taught by people that are very experienced. Taught by people that were very experienced in what they do. And every one of us has something to teach the other. So again, I hope you've got an insight to my life. I hope you've got an insight into how I started out in this. And I hope this weekend is going to be absolutely wonderful for you. And remember, you're all amazing people. Thank you for logging onto this event. Thank you for watching me. I send you a big virtual hug. And especially to all of those who know me, I miss you very much. So if you're on your couch drinking a drop of wine, have a virtual Guinness on me or whatever, but I look forward to see you very much soon. So tune in over the weekend. Tune into my classes. There's going to be a couple of classes online on hair cutting and stuff like that. And tune into everybody. There's going to be a lot to be learned. And let's make the best of this show the way it is this year. It's not the ideal thing what we want this year, but this is what we got, and this is the best we're going to do, and we're going to make the very best of this. So stay tuned, keep tuning in, and see you very soon. For now, talk to you soon. Bye.